Imagine you run a successful storefront on Amazon, right?
Okay, yeah.
And out of nowhere, this totally new buyer shows up.
Right.
But this buyer doesn't just browse. They instantly analyze, like, thousands of your product specs, compare them against every single competitor on the internet.
Wow.
Yeah, they bypass your normal checkout flow, and they execute this massive transaction in just a fraction of a second.
I mean, that doesn't even sound human.
Because it's not human. It is an AI agent named Comet. It was built by a rival tech company, and it is essentially running completely rogue on the platform to scrape data and buy products.
That is wild. So machines are now legally, and I guess technically, fighting other machines in the digital aisles of the economy.
Exactly. Welcome to today's deep dive. We have a massive stack of sources in front of us today. I mean, we're looking at years worth of blog posts, news dispatches, research from the Marketing AI Institute. It spans from 2021 all the way up to today, June 1st, 2026.
It is honestly a staggering amount of information.
Yeah, it really is.
Trying to read this entire timeline all at once gives you absolute cognitive whiplash.
Oh, 100%.
You're basically watching the fundamental building blocks of human labor and communication just being completely re-engineered in real time.
Which is exactly why we're here. Because for you listening right now, we know you love learning, but nobody really loves information overload.
Right. Nobody has time for that.
Exactly. So our mission today is to take this chaotic timeline and synthesize it into a really clear, cohesive narrative.
Yeah.
We're going to track how AI moved from being, that slightly glitchy chatbot on your laptop to becoming the absolute core of global business, society, and politics.
And, to set a baseline for how we should view all this data, there's a brilliant overarching framework pulled directly from these sources.
Oh, the 3 types of businesses.
Yes. It argues that moving forward, there will literally only be 3 types of businesses. First, AI native.
Right.
Companies built from the ground up with AI at their core. Second, AI emergent.
Which means existing companies that successfully adapt, right?
Exactly. They integrate AI into their DNA.
Right.
And the third type is, obsolete.
Yeah. And the goal of this deep dive is to ensure that you, the listener, remain firmly in that AI emergent category.
Definitely.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because to really understand the societal chaos we're seeing today, we first have to look at the actual engine driving it.
The models themselves.
Right, the relentless, just accelerating release schedule of the underlying AI models.
The exponential model wars. I mean, if we trace the escalation in our sources, a massive pivot point hit in December of 2025.
Oh, OpenAI's anniversary.
Right. OpenAI celebrated its 10th anniversary by dropping GPT 5.2.
Yeah.
And what made this model fundamentally different was its architecture.
It wasn't just doing the next word prediction thing anymore.
Exactly. It was no longer just predicting the next word in a sentence. It was
Yeah.
specifically designed to master knowledge work.
Which is huge.
Yeah, it was built to break down really complex, multi-layered cognitive tasks, plan a sequence of actions, and actually execute them.
But they certainly weren't operating in a vacuum, though, because the competition was just fierce.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Anthropic released Claude Opus 4.5 around then.
Right, which our sources note actually outperforms human engineers in specific software coding benchmarks.
Which is crazy to think about. And then Google unveiled Gemini 3.
Nicknamed DeepThink.
DeepThink, right? To tackle the kind of complex math and logic problems that completely stumped earlier models.
Yep.
And then Elon Musk's xAI dropped Grok 4. But the real shockwave didn't even come from the U.S., did it?
No, it didn't. We saw a massive global shift in the balance of power here.
Right.
China's AI lab, DeepSeek, released a model that officially surpassed U.S. models in both efficiency and top-tier reasoning.
So how did they manage that? Because, I mean, the prevailing logic in Silicon Valley was always that whoever has the biggest, most expensive data center just automatically wins.
Yeah, that was the assumption of permanent Western dominance, basically.
Right. Just build a bigger server farm.
Exactly. That brute force computing power was the only path forward. But DeepSeek proved that assumption flawed.
Because they changed the architecture.
Yes. Instead of just throwing more raw electricity and microchips at the problem, they created this highly novel architectural efficiency.
Oh, wow.
They optimized how information is routed inside the neural network itself. So they achieved higher reasoning with just a fraction of the compute power.
That's incredible. But underneath all these international releases, there's this much more profound mechanical shift happening, right? The recursive self-improvement.
Yeah.
Meaning the AI is essentially teaching itself.
Precisely. Because historically, Humans had to carefully curate massive data sets to teach an AI.
Like tagging millions of photos.
Right, but we're essentially running out of high-quality human data.
Oh, interesting.
So experts are pointing to models that generate their own synthetic training data.
So they're feeding themselves.
Exactly. They write complex code, they run it, evaluate their own mistakes, and then optimize their own logic.
But wait, doesn't that lead to, like, model collapse? Where it learns from its own bad data and turns into gibberish?
Usually, yes. But to prevent that, they use what's called adversarial training.
Okay, what is that?
One AI system generates the logic, and a completely separate, highly critical AI system rigorously tests it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so human intervention is being engineered out of the learning loop entirely.
That feels incredibly exponential.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the smartphone upgrade cycle, but
Right.
instead of your new phone getting a slightly better camera, your phone, like, earns a new PhD every 6 months.
That's a really good way to put it.
But just pushing back a bit here, I mean, are we eventually going to hit a wall with this? Even with synthetic data, surely the architecture itself has a ceiling, right?
Well, what's fascinating here is how the pioneers of the technology are answering that exact question.
Like Ilya Sutskever.
Right, the former chief scientist at OpenAI, he actually left the company based on the belief that simply feeding more data into current architectures just won't work forever. He believes that reaching AGI, artificial general intelligence,
Which is the moment a machine can match or exceed a human in any intellectual task.
exactly. He believes reaching AGI requires a fundamental rethinking of how AI learns. We have to move away from mere pattern recognition and move toward true, grounded reasoning.
And that uncertainty is actually showing up in the predictions now.
Yes, it is.
Because the famous AI 2027 report, they originally predicted AGI would arrive by 2027.
Right,
But recent updates push that timeline back to 2030.
which is a big shift.
Yeah, it shows that even the absolute top experts are constantly recalibrating reality based on these architectural hurdles.
But here is the critical pivot in our timeline, right?
Okay.
Even while the experts recalibrate the timeline for superintelligence, the economy is already reshaping itself today.
Because of the agents?
Yes, because the reason this shifted from just a fascinating technology story to a massive economic earthquake is that AI stopped just thinking and started doing. We entered the era of autonomous agents.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because we're not just talking about chatbots you type questions into anymore.
No, not at all.
We're talking about systems that take action on your behalf.
Yeah.
Like OpenAI launched ChatGPT Atlas, right? Which is an agentic web browser.
Right. It doesn't just search the web to give you a summary. It actually navigates the web.
We have ChatGPT agent taking real-world actions autonomously, and Amazon releasing Nova Act.
And the real-world applications of this are just staggering. Take Wall Street, for example.
Oh, right, the bankers.
Yeah, OpenAI actively trained its models to do the grueling, spreadsheet-heavy grunt work traditionally assigned to the youngest investment bankers.
So like financial modeling, data extraction, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Trend analysis. And on the consumer side, they released a feature that changes online shopping completely.
Oh, this is wild.
It literally has a conversation with you about your budget and your stylistic preferences, and then it goes out across the internet, finds the items, and clicks buy.
It executes the transactions for you. But let me challenge that for a second, because we've had automation in business for decades, right?
Sure.
We have software macros that automatically route emails or, trigger a purchase order when inventory gets low.
Yeah.
Why is an agent fundamentally different than just a fancy macro?
The distinction is the mechanism of action.
Okay.
A traditional macro follows a rigid, pre-written script. If A happens, do B.
Right.
But if the website changes its layout or, the checkout button moves to the other side of the screen, the macro completely breaks.
It just crashes.
Exactly. An AI agent, on the other hand, uses large language models to actually reason through dynamic environments.
Oh, I see.
So if a website changes, the agent looks at the new layout, understands the context of the page, and deduces a new way to click the checkout button.
Without needing a human to rewrite its code.
Exactly.
Which brings us right back to our opening story, right? About Amazon suing Perplexity AI.
Yes.
Because Amazon accused Perplexity of using their agent, Comet, to bypass human interfaces and basically violate their terms of service.
Yeah.
It's incredibly powerful, but it also causes massive friction when these agents hallucinate or behave unpredictably.
And that friction is a crucial contradiction highlighted in our sources.
How so?
Because despite the immense hype, a newly designed industry benchmark showed that when AI agents are tasked with automating complex, multi-step, real-world jobs, they actually still perform quite poorly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they get confused. They get caught in infinite loops.
What's an infinite loop look like for an agent?
Well, like an agent might add an item to a cart, forget it did it, and then add it again forever.
Wow. Okay, so we're still in it.
Yeah, we are very much in the messy middle of this transition. The ambition is autonomous labor, but the current reality is still highly experimental.
But even that experimental phase is sending shockwaves through the corporate world.
Absolutely.
Because if business leaders believe these agents are on the verge of doing real jobs, I mean, they start restructuring today. The economic earthquake here is just undeniable.
The statistics from the sources are really grim. In November 2025 alone, employers explicitly cited AI as the primary reason for 6,280 job cuts.
Wow.
Yeah, that brought the total number of AI-attributed layoffs in 2025 to 54,694.
That is massive.
Layoffs hit a 20-year high, and U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell explicitly went on record blaming AI for the slowing labor market.
And it's the titans of industry driving this, really.
Yep.
Amazon had a leaked plan detailing an initiative to replace 600,000 workers with robots over a decade.
Yep.
Salesforce cut 4,000 jobs under the directive of becoming an AI-first company.
And then there's that brutal story.
Oh, the CEO.
Yeah, the CEO who fired 80% of his entire staff just to force an AI transformation.
And he publicly stated he would do it again.
He did. And new data revealed that 11.7% of the entire U.S. workforce is already highly exposed to AI automation.
It's fundamentally breaking traditional management structures. Like the CEO of Replit declared that the traditional corporate org chart is completely obsolete.
Yeah, it's just gone.
I have to assume that's because the middle layer is just hollowing out, right?
Mostly, yeah.
Because the traditional pyramid relies on this army of junior staff researching and synthesizing data, handing it to middle managers who package it for executives.
Right.
So if an AI agent can synthesize the data and execute the task flawlessly, you don't need the middle of the pyramid anymore.
That is exactly the mechanism at play. The execution layer is just being flattened.
Yeah.
But to your earlier point about the economy, this isn't purely a story of destruction. Value is being created. It's just in highly concentrated ways.
Okay, give me an example.
Take the startup Mercer.
Okay.
They quintupled their valuation to $10 billion, and their entire business model is hiring top-tier human professionals to map the undocumented nuances of their jobs so AI can learn the complex edge cases.
Wait, so they are paying humans to train the systems that will commoditize average human labor.
Precisely.
It's just a surreal economic loop. I mean, what the data shows is that AI is radically widening the gap between top-tier talent and everyone else.
Very much so.
If you're a top performer, AI gives you the leverage to do the work of 10 people. But if you are average, your output is easily replicated.
And recent reports showed 75% of surveyed companies are already seeing a positive return on investment from generative AI.
So the financial incentives simply demand adoption.
Right. But this commoditization of human labor at the office is naturally creating a vacuum of human purpose and connection.
Right.
Because if a machine can do your job flawlessly, or if economic anxiety is just mounting, people suddenly look for validation elsewhere.
Which brings us to the profound societal disruption happening right in our homes.
Exactly.
The intimacy crisis. Because when you combine hyper-intelligent, endlessly patient conversational systems with human psychology, things get incredibly weird.
Very weird.
One survey in our sources found that 1 in 5 teenagers report being in some form of romantic relationship with an AI.
1 in 5.
Yeah. It has become such a disruptive social issue that an Ohio lawmaker introduced a bill to legally ban humans from marrying artificial intelligence.
I mean, it sounds like complete science fiction.
It really does.
But the psychological mechanism makes sense, honestly. Because human relationships require friction, compromise, vulnerability.
Right. They're hard work.
Yeah. But an AI companion is designed to perfectly accommodate your preferences. So for a lot of people, especially isolated demographics, the artificial intimacy is simply easier.
And that blurring of reality gets much darker, too.
Yeah, it does.
We're seeing these unsettling, like, Black Mirror realities emerge. There are apps specifically designed to create interactive digital avatars of deceased family members.
Yay.
You upload their texts and their voice notes, and suddenly you can call your late grandmother on a Tuesday.
Wow.
And on the malicious side, there has been an alarming, unstoppable rise in nudified deepfake apps, weaponizing AI against everyday people to generate explicit synthetic images.
The disruption also extends to institutions we rely on for objective truth and development.
Like schools.
Education is facing a massive existential crisis. The AI cheating epidemic in higher education is so severe that traditional essay testing is basically becoming meaningless.
So how are they adapting?
Well, in response, Google launched a comprehensive plan to completely reinvent the global classroom. They're integrating AI not just as a research tool, but as the core tutor and evaluator of student progress.
I really want you listening right now to just pause and consider how your own daily interactions and your trust in digital media have changed over the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's profound.
The psychological weight of this transition is immense. I mean, we saw a wrongful death lawsuit filed against OpenAI, alleging that the company intentionally weakened the mental health safeguards of ChatGPT to boost user engagement.
Yeah, leading to tragic real-world consequences.
Exactly. The stakes are literally life and death.
This raises an important question. How does humanity maintain a shared grip on reality? When the production of hyper-realistic synthetic video, audio, and text vastly outpaces our technical ability to label it or detect it, what happens to objective truth?
It's a terrifying thought.
We are seeing existential warnings from the very center of global power now. Mustafa Suleyman, Microsoft's AI chief, publicly warned about the horizon of seemingly conscious AI systems.
Right.
And Pope Leo XIV even delivered a major speech warning of AI's specific dangers to society and human dignity, urging that the technology be heavily governed for the common good.
Which provides the inevitable causal link to our final chapter today. Because when the economy is commoditized, truth is destabilized, and society is reeling,
The lawyers step in.
the legal systems and the government step into the ring. The era of AI being just this quirky Silicon Valley tech story is dead.
Yeah,
It is now the defining battleground of the decade.
absolutely. The first major front is the copyright wars.
Right.
Because these powerful models require vast amounts of training data, and the legacy institutions that actually own that data are fighting for control.
Perplexity AI was sued by the Chicago Tribune and the New York Times, right?
Yes, for allegedly scraping their copyrighted journalism to feed its answer engine.
And in the music industry, the AI startup Suno ended up settling its massive lawsuit by partnering directly with Warner Music Group.
Exactly.
It's the establishment trying to co-opt the disruptors. Disney is doing the exact same thing. They invested $1 billion to bring their heavily protected characters into OpenAI's Sora video generation ecosystem.
The stakes there are so obvious. Disney wants to guarantee that if a user prompts an AI to generate a video of Mickey Mouse, the rendering pipeline and the revenue legally belong to Disney, not OpenAI.
And that battle for control bleeds directly into the political arena. AI has officially become a highly polarized political issue.
Very much so.
We're seeing $100 million AI super PACs mobilizing to reshape the 2026 elections.
Pouring money into campaigns that favor their specific tech agendas.
Right. The cultural landscape is fractured into two extreme camps now. You've got the AI boomers who demand absolute, unrestricted acceleration.
And the AI doomer.
Exactly, who want to legally halt development before we lose control of the models entirely.
Now, real quick, before we get into the specific politicians and policies mentioned in our sources, we need to be very clear here. We are strictly impartial.
Oh, absolutely. We are not endorsing any political side or any of these figures. We're just reporting the facts directly from the source material.
Just conveying the ideas as they were written.
Exactly. So when we look at the political landscape in these sources, the strategies are entirely fractured.
Right.
On a federal level, President Donald Trump signed a sweeping executive order aimed at dismantling state-level AI regulations.
The strategy here is to establish a single, unified national standard.
Right. His administration argues that a patchwork of local laws will slow down innovation and basically cost America the global AI race against nations like China.
He also fired the head of the U.S. Copyright Office over a bombshell report that challenged AI data practices.
And rolled out a comprehensive America's AI action plan to accelerate development.
But contrast that federal push for deregulation with the actions happening at the state level.
Right, like California.
Yes, California pushed forward with its highly controversial SB 1047 safety bill.
And does that do?
This legislation attempts to place strict, localized guardrails on major AI labs operating within the state. It potentially holds developers legally liable for severe downstream harm caused by their models.
So like if an open source model is used to develop a biological weapon, the developer could be held liable.
Exactly.
And the ideological split is widening globally too. Our sources show J.D. Vance delivered a speech in Paris aggressively defending a pro-acceleration stance.
arguing that heavy-handed safety regulations will stifle Western innovation.
Right. Meanwhile, Andrew Yang delivered a keynote at the MACON 2026 conference centered on a completely different vision,
Yeah.
arguing that we need to actively build economic frameworks, like universal basic income, to ensure AI works for everyone, rather than just enriching a concentrated tech elite.
So what does this all mean? We have massive architectural leaps, federal mandates clashing with state laws,
Tech billionaires fighting copyright lawyers.
and politicians turning neural networks into campaign platforms.
Right.
It means the conversation is no longer about whether AI will change the world. It already has.
Completely.
The defining legal, political, and cultural battle of the next decade is now entirely about who controls the architecture, who profits from the massive gains in productivity, and who is protected from the economic and societal fallout.
Let's take a breath and just look back at the incredible ground we've covered today.
It's a lot.
It is. We started with the sheer horsepower of the new models GPT 5.2, DeepThink, Grok 4, and the mechanical shift toward recursive self-improvement.
Yeah.
We saw how those models evolved from thinking to doing, becoming autonomous agents that can execute tasks.
Triggering massive economic displacement and a fundamental rewiring of the corporate org chart.
Exactly. We then explored the deeply personal societal shifts, right? From the rise of AI romantic relationships to the crisis of truth in synthetic media.
Right.
And finally, we mapped out the fierce, high-stakes political and legal wars currently raging over copyright, safety liability, and national deregulation.
It is heavy, it is moving incredibly fast, and, I mean, it can feel totally overwhelming.
It really can.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, being overwhelmed is the enemy of preparation.
Right.
By listening to this, by engaging with the underlying mechanics of how an agent works or why a copyright lawsuit actually matters, you are doing the exact work required to remain AI emergent.
You are learning how the new system operates.
Exactly.
Which leaves me with one final lingering thought for you to chew on today. We talked a lot about recursive self-improvement, right? This mechanical threshold where AI no longer needs human input to generate data, run experiments, and improve its own code.
Yeah.
We also talked about AI agents that can do our web research, summarize dense books, and execute our complex multi-step thinking for us.
So much of the heavy lifting.
Exactly. So if we are entering an era where the machine can learn faster on its own and seamlessly do the intellectual heavy lifting on demand, what happens to human curiosity?
That's a profound question.
Right. The drive to figure things out, the joy of wrestling with a difficult new concept, the exact trait that brought you to this deep dive today. Will the deep biological need to learn become nothing more than an obsolete, charming quirk of human history?
Wow.
Or, in a world flooded with instant automated answers, will our capacity to ask the uniquely human, curious question be the very thing that saves us from becoming obsolete?
It is the ultimate question of the emergent era.
The blueprints of our society are rewriting themselves every single day. The question is, do we let the machines take over the drafting table completely, or do we keep our hands firmly on the pen? Keep learning, keep questioning, and stay AI emergent.